Yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez of Z100, New York's #1 hit music station, 103.5 KISS FM in Chicago, and the Superstar crossover on iHeartRadio with my guest who needs zero introduction, but if I don't introduce her, shit would be awkward. Becky Lynch, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you for that introduction.
Of course. You're on Cloud 9. The book is officially out.
It is out.
It is.
People are reading it.
Dude, let me tell you something, and I'm not saying this to be cool, because I don't think this is cool. This is not cool. I think I've read
cool?
I think I've read like 2 books my whole life.
Okay, yeah.
I am on WrestleMania 32 for your book, which is like, I don't know, 230 something since the weekend.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I am like just going through the book. It is tremendous.
That is the biggest compliment.
Yeah. What made you want to write the book to begin with?
Well, I always wanted to write a book, but I wanted to write a book that people aren't like, oh gosh, I got to finish this book. Something that people want to read and want to turn the page and want to find out what happens next. I mean, you find out what happens next, like I'm here.
I got to say, it was very frustrating to read the book in the sense of your insecurities kill me, only to realize that I'm actually projecting onto you. Because I have the same issues.
Ooh, interesting.
A lot of like, I see myself in a lot of your story. Have you gotten people saying similar things to you?
Not really. I think more than anything, I think people do find it fascinating. I hope I at least call it out that like I'm aware that this is ridiculous, but here is what I was feeling, you know? And but that's the thing, is that it's sometimes we're going through these things when we should be feeling the most confident, and we're like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Are they going to hate me? And like we do that constantly, or I know I've done that constantly, and it's constantly a battle to fight it and to shut it the hell up and shut it the hell down. And eventually you learn to just get on with it. You're like, okay, this voice is always going to be here. Feck off, you know, like just go away. Just go away. I don't want to deal with you anymore.
You talk about journaling in your book a lot.
Yeah.
That you wish you did it earlier in life, and then you kind of do it. You've done it more or less like about the last 20-ish years or so.
Oh, no, I've actually done it my entire life. Okay. Yeah. My dad was, not my entire life, but my dad was on me from an early age to write. I think the biggest thing was I would just write about how I was feeling at all times. So I think that's been very helpful in that I was able to give you a detailed account of how I was feeling during all the biggest moments in my life, as opposed to the nitty-gritty of stories, which I go into too. But I think how you feel about something is more important than the standard facts behind things, because it ain't about like what people say or do. It is about how they make you feel. And
you're being a human being.
I am a human being. And I write about being a human being.
You have any plans to pass those journal entries down to your daughter?
No, God, no. Burn after reading. Yeah, like it's one of those things where I'm like, why have I not burned this? But maybe you know, when I'm gone, who cares?
But when you're a New York Times bestseller because of this, God damn it works, girl.
Exactly. But we don't need to broadcast them until I'm long gone.
There's a lot of second guessing in the book. A lot of second guessing yourself in the book. What advice would you have to people that are still second guessing themselves to this day?
Do it anyway. And that's the thing, is that you don't get better. You don't improve. You don't gain more confidence by thinking about being better or gaining more confidence. You get it by doing. You get it by understanding that you're going to feel like this, but the only way to kick it is to do it. And I think that's what we're always battling against, and people will use that as an excuse. Well, I don't feel confident enough. I don't feel ready. It's not the right time. I'll wait until I'm more prepared. But if you're waiting, then you're always going to be waiting. But the thing is that when you go out and you try, a lot of the times you realize that you had nothing to be scared about. You had no reason to second guess anything. Or maybe that second guessing really just helps you because it means that you are more prepared, or you are more aware, or you try harder when you need to try harder. Sometimes you try too hard and you learn and you try and you succeed and you fail and you try again and you fail again and you succeed, and it's just this dance that you're constantly going through, that we're all going through, that's just life. And it's about not sitting on the sidelines. It's not letting that voice in your head get to you, or the external voices that are telling you can't be done, it's never been done, you're not good enough, you're not this enough, you're not whatever. It's saying, well, I'm alive, so let me try.
I think that one of the more fascinating stories that you have in the book is early on when you decide to take the plane trip to Vancouver. You talk about your brother's note that he kind of told you, don't open this till you're on the plane. But you did make a little mention of having a CD player. We don't have to talk about the note because the note's in the book.
Yeah.
What CD were you listening to?
Oh, Kanye West.
Really?
Yeah.
College Dropout? Or?
Yeah, College Dropout.
I don't think I can like you anymore.
Yeah. And so the thing was that Fergal burned that CD for me.
Classic, by the way.
And so when I listen to those songs, it takes me back. And I remember like driving through the countryside of Japan, listening to these songs, like Through the Wire and all that. And so it always brings me back and has a special place in my heart.
Isn't that amazing with music that the moment you hear a song, it transports you back to like a certain part of your life?
For better or worse.
Exactly.
It's great.
You mentioned the script in your book, Your Heart's Breaking Even, the big song that they had, which anytime I hear that song, I get transported back to Des Moines, Iowa. I did radio in Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's this weird Iowa connection. What are your thoughts on Iowa as someone who lives there?
It has corn.
It's cute. There's a coffee shop.
You know, yeah. There's some great coffee there. 392, big shout out. Great wrestling school. A great grandma for my baby, and we've got my husband's whole family there, and so that's lovely. And then the corn in the summer is so fresh, and that's lovely. And there's not a bunch of hills, so if you go out for a run. Mm-hmm. You don't have to run up hills.
And if you go out for a long drive, it feels even longer because nothing's happening in your periphery because it's just all open field. I've done the drives, girl. It sucks.
And there's there's lots of cornfields though, so you never know. Like a little creepy toddler could come out of them at any point, and that's exciting.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Something that caught my eye in the book, and you mentioned Fergal before, who is Finn Balor to those that may not know. And I'm going to read this verbatim. I had simultaneously become demanding, clingy, and too scared of losing him, whether that was a result of ego or insecurity. How long did it take for you to come to grips with that emotion? Because at the time, you don't feel it. Like, you don't realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But how long did it take for you to realize, like, oh, shit, I was kind of self-sabotaging?
Oh, gosh, probably a few years, you know what I mean? Probably a few years. And maybe I would have been aware enough to look back and realize what I've done, but maybe I was just pointing the finger at everybody. But then as you grow up, you go, oh my God, I can't believe that was his experience. Oh my God, I was the worst, the poor lad. You know, but this is the things that you go through as a teenager and growing up, and I think we all do that. We all have those moments where we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I acted like that. I can't believe I thought this was going to be the end of the world.
And isn't that like wild in regards to, like, you're so young. In one sense, based on your book, you're very free. Just do what you want, party girl, if you will, a little bit. And then on this other hand, you're just completely like crestfallen because this guy is breaking your heart, according to you.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like the first guy I was into, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, I say that in quotations, for 13 days. And I just remember like waking up and being like, no, my heart is never going to repair. I'm never going to find anybody better than him. You know? 13 days. You know, like you just, but how great was it to feel those emotions like that when you were a teenager?
So, I mean, obviously looking back, whether it's the Fergal breakup or another part that caught my eye in your book, wanting to make it to the big time, which was TNA at the time, you said, I wanted to validate myself as being worthy and make him want me back.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for that heartbroken 19-year-old girl?
Oh my gosh, never try to fix yourself to have somebody else fit into your life. Never try to fix yourself to make somebody else fit into your life. Like if it's for your betterment, like if you were aware of things that you do that are self-sabotaging, but you know, if the shoe doesn't fit, must we change the foot? No, you know, we can't change the foot. We just buy new shoes.
and in your case, dope shoes.
Dope shoes.
I've spoke about this with Charlotte Flair. I've spoke about this with Saraya. King Troy's impact on the wrestling game as a whole.
A legend.
I mean,
A
changed
legend.
the
Much
game.
love. Much love.
Take us a little bit behind the scenes, if you will, for a little bit of how that all came about.
Gosh, I think I think he reached out to me in like 2019 and said that he wanted to work with me, and I had seen him work with Carmella and with Sasha, and he was dressed in them fantastically, and so he reached out, and instantly I just loved him because he's so lovely and he loves wrestling, but he's so passionate about what he does. He's so into it and he works so hard, and having somebody like that on your team is always amazing, and you know that he's always going to have your back. He's always going to come through for you, and he's going to come through in a big way, and he really has changed the fashion game of WWE.
You're no longer going out there in your merch for 17 consecutive weeks because that's all that they have for you.
I know, but it was also, two things. Then you're selling the t-shirts, and that's great. And but the other thing is that I had no clue how to dress. I had no clue how to dress, and I was uncomfortable with my body, and so I didn't know how to shop for my body. And I was also, I grew up poor.
Same.
I did not know where to go other than thrift stores, and I would go to Ross, Dress for Less. I talk about that a lot in the book.
Yes, you do.
But I'd be like, wait, this shirt is $50. What makes it $50? I can find it for $3 somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, I was scared to spend money, but also just didn't, had no clue. I had no clue what I was doing.
Shifting gears a little bit. This is called the Superstar Crossover because my last guest had a question for you, and my last guest pops up in your book, Sami Zayn.
Oh!
He wanted to know.
The TV cameras are not there. The production is not there. It's naked. It's just the craft. It's just the art. And I guess, I don't know. I'm curious about how important that art is, the craft is.
Where does the actual craft of wrestling rank in your list of performance? Because obviously, as a performer, your looks, your fashion, hard camera, making sure you're entertaining the crowd, but the actual craft of wrestling, where does it rank in your list of importance?
Number 2.
Okay.
Number 1 is storytelling. Number 1 is storytelling. Because ain't nobody gonna care what you do in the ring if you have not told a good story. Nobody's gonna, and there's a line that says a promo is a match and a match is a promo, right? So you tell a story during the match, but to know what the story you're telling in the match, that comes before the craft, before the nitty gritty, before you get down to that. That's number 1, and then the craft of the actual wrestling, of understanding it, of understanding what's going to elicit a response, what's going to be easy for the audience to follow too, because you don't want to be doing all this technical stuff and everybody's going, wait, what's happening? We do this for an audience. We don't do it for us. We do it for them. And if they're not following it, and we're doing it because we think it's interesting and it's so cool, and then ain't nobody's gonna care, and then why are you doing it in the first place? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course. Our next guest could be anyone from your locker room, AEW, anyone from around the world. Do you have a question for them?
What do you want the audience to know about you?
What do you want the audience to know about you going into WrestleMania?
That I'm gonna give it my all, because I always give it my all. And this is the most Rocky Balboa story of all time, and I've always identified as Becky Balboa. And you look at somebody like Rhea Ripley, and she's a made superstar, man. She was made for this, born for this. I wasn't born for this. I fought for this. And when I go out there, I have a chip on my shoulder that I have to prove myself every single time. I've never taken a night off. I've never taken it easy. I treat every match like it's the most important match that I've ever had. But this is the most important match that I've ever had. And it's one of the biggest matches that I've ever had. And going into Philadelphia with that spirit, with that heart, with that determination, knowing a lot of people are doubting me. Knowing that a lot of people don't want me to win this, that just makes me all the more hungry.
Now, the people that love you are your fans, and we got a couple minutes left, so I'll quickly go through fan questions that I got. Myra Cherry, I believe her name is. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. How do you want the world to remember you when it's all said and done?
It was a game changer.
I love that.
Changed the game.
Goddamn right, girl.
Yeah. Continue to.
I have a friend named Jamie DeFalco on Staten Island who is a mother of two, stay-at-home mother of two. And I'm going to verbatim. This is what it says. How the fuck do you juggle being a WWE superstar and being a mom? Because I could barely get out of bed right now to do the mom part.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think what she does is a lot harder than what I do. I do, hands down. Hands down. Being a stay-at-home mother is much harder than what I do. Because you don't have any time off. When you don't have any space for yourself. When I go into the building and I start talking about wrestling, that's my me time. That is the thing that I'm passionate about. That is, and of course you're passionate about looking after your kids. You love your kids, but everything is to serve them. That is way harder than what I do because I have the piece of me that was me before I was a mother. And when you're a mother, your whole identity changes because you're no longer the most important thing in your world. You're not. Your child is, and it always will be, and that's wonderful and that's brilliant. But you almost have to grieve the person and the life that you lived before that. And I get to still live it, and I still get to have that part of me. So I think what she does is so much harder than what I do.
You mentioned grieving, which is a fascinating word to use because to an extent, I mean, I think you're right. I recently became a father.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Also, by the way, it's the best. Like, it's also the best.
5.5 months old. We're both raising, you and I will have badass daughters in a few years and beyond. Have you thought about what sports you want to put your daughter in?
We have her in gymnastics.
Okay.
We have her in gymnastics. I think that's just a great overall fundamental understanding your body. I always wanted to do gymnastics, but my ma wouldn't let me. She was too scared.
It also costs too much fucking money.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Iowa. It's kind of it's fairly cheap.
Quad Cities gymnastics is a lot more affordable.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and so and she ain't going to competitions or anything right now, but I always wanted to do gymnastics when I was a kid, but my mom was too scared of me getting hurt. Oh, the irony.
I was going to say, you talk about that a lot in your book, which is available right now. Not Your Average Girl. Becky Lynch, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, girl.